On this episode, we're going to review the latest Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling event. Yes, Wonderland, where we have, of course, two title matches. Hikaru Shida makes her return to Tokyo Joshi Pro, and of course, a alumni has decided to retire from pro wrestling. We're talking about Rika Saki, who no one's seen her wrestle since 2019, and many other things taking place. We're also going to review Gatoh Move's return, which is their first ever show in 2 years. They haven't run any show since the pandemic, but we have some amazing matches that are taking place, and we also often wonder how would Emi Sakura would feel now that this promotion is back on track, doing all these things. But also, we cannot forget AEW Dynamite. We have, of course, the qualifying match, or as we say, the dream match between two amazing high flyers, Ray Phoenix, Dante Martin. We even got, of course, the surprise opponent from Warlow, and of course, the unification of the undisputed ROH Women's Championship. And of course, we got some news updates regarding, of course, more info going on with Konosuke Takashita, who is currently doing a U.S. expedition, not only in AEW, but other various promotions. And of course, more information I've been following up about this one, Freddie Prinze Jr., since he's been talking about starting his own wrestling promotion, and many other things we're going to be talking about. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, give me a minute. Excuse me. Let's begin with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling with, yes, Wonderland. It took place on the 3rd of May in Corkin Hall. Now, there's been a few slight changes on the card. It opened up, of course. Normally, we see this maybe like a semi-final, semi-main event or something. I don't know. The Princess Tag Team Championship will be on the line between Free Wi-Fi taking on the Magical Sugar Rabbits. Now, the reason this match was moved up the head was because, if you guys been aware, now I mentioned this before, Yuka Sakazaki has a tight schedule, so she has to make a flight straight from Tokyo all the way to, here in the States to participate in AEW's Rampage for the qualifying match that she's in with Rio. But this one is, of course, a pretty intense match between the two teams. Now, Free Wi-Fi has been making headways, has been spinning a lot of heads, winning matches, but the Magical Sugar Rats have remained the most dominant tag team so far. Now, they have won 4 consecutive victories, but they can build up 5. Well, the answer to that, as you guys know, Yuka Sakazaki is the kind of person, she's almost similar to Mei Shiruga, but she tried to use the safety of the turnbuckle in her favor. But there was a moment where Hikari Nao used the exposed buckle in her favor to hurt more Yuka Sakazaki, but it did not go well as well. But however, it was Mizuki who ended the match with a beautiful pinfall onto Nao Kakura. Now, I know those two were so pumped to become champions. We know they'll get their chance, but it only takes time until we know they're getting used to being a tag team, but only time will tell. Now, we had that exhibition match between Arisu Endo and, of course, Rika Saiki. Now, if you guys don't know who Rika Saiki is a veteran wrestler. She's been with the promotion for a couple years. She hasn't been with Tokyo Joshi Pro since 2019. She normally been working on bodybuilding, fitness modeling for the past couple years. I've been following her on her social media, Twitter and Instagram. But this was her retirement. Apparently, she talked. This was announced about a month ago that she was planning to retire. And what better way to do that to the promotion that gave her the opportunity? I'm talking about Kyoshi Pro. It also shows that she was graduating from the promotion, knowing. But the match was an exhibition. Rizu Endo was given the honor to become the opponent. I have to say, Rizu Endo did a pretty good job. I was surprised how she was in moments. She had um, uh, what's her name, Psyche, in a submission. But unfortunately, this exhibition only lasted 3 minutes and it ended in a time limit draw. But of course, Psyche gave her thoughts about how she felt like 3 minutes felt like a long time. She wished she could have had more time with her, but it didn't. And everybody else who been with her, who knew her, like Miyu Yamashita and Yuka Sakasaki, um, they all came to talk to her, and of course, the Tembel, where they retired. So that kind of thing happened. It was real nice. Now we had, of course, Mazane, who is in fact we know her. She used to be the trainer in Tokyo Joshi Pro and also Nacros Girls. She came out to promote a Ganbare Pro, which they had a Yoshi show going on. She's no stranger with Tokyo Joshi Pro, which is kind of cool. Now, our next match we have, of course, Kaya Toribami and Haruna Neko, the bird and the cat, taking on Mahito Kiru and Yuki Kamifuku. Now, to be honest with you, ever since I started watching Tokyo Joshi Pro, I have seen Kiru and Kamifuku teamed up in the past. But it's been like almost a year or a year and a half. I'm not 100% sure that those two have teamed up. Now, I know that Kiru has been on losing streaks before in the past, but I have to say she has developed a much better trading her craft in this particular match, which was good. And I was a bit surprised that she was the one who picked up the victory when she pinned Haruna Neko, and it was amazing. Hopefully she gets better of what she can do, so I'm going to pay attention to that. Next up, we got Judah Nagona taking on Zuzumi. Now, I have mentioned this. Zuzumi, I have to say she has grown up so much, in every aspect. Not only she has become a good tag team with Arizu Endo, but Zuzumi, I have to say I was impressed with her as a singles competitor too. But I was like, did not expect it how this is going to go. Now, Judah Nagano, she is new into Tokyo Joshi Pro, but Zuzumu, I think she has maybe 2 or 3 years into. I'm not sure yet, but Zuzumu ended it by applying the Tinkerbell, or as we call it, the stunner, onto her, and she picked up a really good victory. I'm sure we can see her somewhere down the future, either challenging for the International Princess as a singles competitor. I can see that she's going for that first. Next up, we got trios action. First team, we got Pum Arijuku, Raku, and Yuki Inoi. They're taking on, of course, Yuki Arai and Machichumu, consistent of Miyu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi. Now, this match was really all, Yuki Arai and Achikumu, because they're more of the dominant team. But however, they got to be careful with Raku. As you guys know this, she likes to play tricks on people. Not to mention she likes to make people go to sleep. So that's the thing about her. But it did not work. But however, it was Yuki Arai who picked up the pinfall onto Pom Adajuku, and it was a pretty good one. I have to say she is growing up too as a wrestler in Tokyo Joshi Pro. Hopefully, we can see her down the line what she's gonna do. Now, our next match, our semifinal, we have, of course, Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita taking on Moka Miyamoto and, of course, Holy Shida, Hikaru Shida, making her a return to Tokyo Joshi Pro. So it was kind of cool. But however, the one thing that was interesting is that she called out Maki Ito. You guys know Maki Ito. She likes to flip people off, so she gave, Hikaru Shida the bird, and that kind of went in that way. But however, it was Yamashita who picked up the victory by taking out Moka Miyamoto, and that kind of puts it like, okay. But I do have that distinct feeling we will see down in the line Maki Ito versus Hikaru Shida. I don't think they ever faced off one on one before. I know they have cross paths before, but we'll see. Now our main event, this is between two friends. We got, of course, this is for the Princess of Princess Championship between Hyper Misao and Shoka Nakajima. Now, Hyper Misao has this thing where she does tricks during her promo before the right when the start of the match. But however, she started out that way, but instead she decided to go all the way. Now, this was rare for fans, including myself, who's seen Hyper Misawa, to go in that trajectory. Now, do I find that bad? No. But I think it takes it more like, okay, now Hyper Misawa knows this is very serious. This is a championship match. You have to win. And I think that's the key part that she has to realize that at this moment. But she did try to dismantle Nakajima's left shoulder, her arm. But unfortunately, it did not go well for her because Nakajima, who's a strong fighter, proving that she's a strong competitor, be the champion, she pinned Hyper Masao, and of course, she was happy that this was a really good match for her. And I know she believes in her that she will be stronger as her as well. But she also in the post match she put out a promo how she wants to defend this title at Cyber Fight, which is really interesting. If you guys know this or not, the annual Cyber Fight is coming up soon, and it's going to take place in next month in June. I'm excited for it. I hope everybody is because I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. So I think that's pretty much it. What we got with Tokyo Joshi Pro. I believe it's time for Gatoh Move returns. Okay, so it's been 2 years since we have seen Gatoh Move do a show since then. Since then, the promotion itself decided to do their flag show, Choco Pro, for the last 2 years, which is an awesome show to watch. I enjoyed, I love it. But however, Gatoh Move is one of those shows that I learned afterwards what they were doing. I did not know that it was Emi Sakura's promotion at the time, but learning about it, yes. But I wonder what Emi Sakura thinks now, how it's back into its fold after 2 years being gone. But let's talk about the matches. First one is a three-way tag match. First thing we got Dragon Ninja, Saruyi, and Chonchiru to take on Trans Am Hiroshi and Antonio Hana versus Hagane Shino and Totowashi. Now keep in mind when it comes to Hiroshi and Honda, these guys are the most practical jokers ever. Now had a Trans Am, he acts like he's a freaking Buddhist or something. Or Honda, with his Fox. But it was Trans Am who was able to pick up the victory, giving the team an edge. He was the one who no, scratch that. It was Honda who picked up a victory by pinning Sayuri, despite the fact that she claimed that she got out of it. It was a very surprising move, but it happened. Next match is a pair of fourth generation girls. We got Sayaka versus Tokiko Kihara. Now, last time I do remember those two faced off was in Choco Pro. I think Tokiko was the one who won, but Sayaka was still on the learning curve. Now, keep in mind, she is still learning how to wrestle, all this and that, but I have to say she has grown up. As much as I remembered the last few matches in Choco Pro has changed her. I mean, she has won tag matches here and there, but Singles, rarely. But it was very interesting. It was all submissions in this particular match. But I think it was like a somewhat of a brain buster that finished off Tokiko Kihara, allowing for Sayaka to win the match. And I think she did a pretty good job. Now, our next match, we have trios action. Excuse me. We got Sayaka Obihiro, Yuna Mizumori, and of course, Ken Oka taking on. Well, Minoru Fujita was there too, supporting them. We had Shin Suzuki, Masahiro Takanashi, and Chris Brooks. I think this match was a bit of the aggressive side. You couldn't possibly imagine, but it was, in fact, Yuna Mizumori with the Superman pin that ended with Shin Suzuki. He was the one who dropped the ball. He messed up. Even Chris Brooks was not happy about it. So it was a pretty good, interesting victory. Now, this next match, we have Hikaru Sato taking on Balinaki. This was a hard hitting, balls to the wall striking match, as you could put it. You know, kick there, kick over here. But unfortunately, they reached their time limit up to 20 minutes, I believe. Yes, 20 minutes. It was a very disappointing draw. I'm sure they will get back to this in the future. But the real question is, with what? I have that distinct feeling. What if Balinaki puts the Super Asia Championship on the line to make it happen? Well, we will see when that day comes. Now, our main event, we got Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Coyote Yonayama versus Haruka Umasaki and Mei Suga. Now, if you guys know this, these two were trained by the same person, and Sakura. They have teamed up in Choco Pro on various occasions. As you know, Umasaki, she is currently in Diana, but she made her presence here to be with her tag partner and someone she trained with. And I thought it was a pretty good match to show. I was like bit happy how the match turned out, but it was Mei Suruga who picked up a very strong victory on Chiko Shikawa. 2 minutes for the team. Now, things become emotional. Keep in mind, it's been 2 years since they have a show, and they let it sink in, knowing that they did it. They finally are back, but the real question is, where do we go from there? That is a good question. I'm sure that the Choco Pro stuff is not going to stop, but having Gatoh Move back, I'd say I'm looking forward to it. So I think that's pretty much it. So we ended with our last review with AEW Dynamite. Okie dokie. Our last review, it's AEW Dynamite. We saw the opening where Adam Cole joins the commentary section, and once again being the prick in front of Tony Schiavone. Now, the reason he showed up is because we have the Owen Hart Foundation qualifying match. Keep in mind, Adam Cole and Kyle Riley are in the tournament. All they need is one more person, and that is Bobby Fish. His opponent is none other than Jeff Hardy. So basically, like, there was a lot of moves that Bobby Fish used to in in the camp of, to disable Jeff Hardy's high flying maneuver, which he did, but it's only a short time until finally Jeff Hardy issued the Swanton Bomb and finished him off completely. Now, this would have set Adam Cole, but however, looks like the renewed old rivalry between the Hardys and the Bucks happened in the post match. So Jeff Hardy wins the match, but like I said, the renewal between both brother sides of the tag teams rekindles again. Now, once again, we got the Blackpool Combat Unit versus the members of the Andrade Family Office, Butcher, Blade, and Angelico. Now, Yuta has always been like the one guy I seen that he's going to be dealing with all the beating, but of course it happens. But it was in fact Daniel Bryan's who put Bryan Danielson who finished off Angelico with the triangle lancer right on him, and of course Angelico had no choice but to tap out. Now, in an interview, as you know, Team Taz they're in a role, but however they were interrupted by Jungle Express and Christian, saying despite that they're going to put the tag titles on the line for them, Jungle Boy suggested he puts the FTW title on the line, and Christian made a good point. He's not defending it, so that's going to happen next week. Now, speaking of Team Taz, now speaking of Team Taz, in an other interview, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee had some words to express about Team Taz. It appears that this feud between them is far, far from over, but I wouldn't be surprised if they cost them the match, just like Taz did with them. I wouldn't be surprised if that takes place. Now, our next match, we have Warlow versus his surprise opponent, and it turned out exactly how people thought. W. Morrissey was there. I mean, Morrissey dismantled him completely. But however, Warlow fought back no matter how hard he tried. He did it all exactly how he did it, but one power bomb put him away. But however, Warlow sent a very strong statement when he took out the entire security group, telling Warlow that it doesn't matter how big he gets them, how strong he gets them, he will be coming for him. However, there's going to be a contract signing for the stipulation. This is not going to take place next week. Is this week? It's going to take place next week in Long Island. Of course, home field advantage for MJF. Now we see an interview with, of course, Ruby Soho, Storm, along with Breaker and Hater. We know they're going to have a tag match this coming Friday, so things could get a little escalated when we get there. But we'll find out from there. Now, Hangman had some words to say about CM Punk, about, he heard the stories about him, but all he cares now is to show that he is going to kick his ass, to beat him to the ground. And I think that's kind of be like a very interesting how this is going to go out. But however, his buddy Johnny Hungy made a decision he's going to challenge him to a match next week. We'll just see what Johnny Hungy does. Then we see, of course, Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Singh saying they're pissed off with the red carpet because apparently Lethal's going to face on Rampage Konosuke Takeshita. So basically, he's sick and tired of the red carpet being laid out for other people, but except him. So we'll see where they're going to go with that. Our next match is Santana with Ortiz to take on Jericho. The match was balls to wall crazy until Jericho once again used the low blow to take out Santana. And of course, it was another beatdown 5-on-2 while Eddie is out for a while. We know he'll be back, but we just don't know when. Now, Joe had some interesting message to send to Jay Lethal saying that he's coming for him, that he's waiting for him, so he's going to be in a fight against him. Now, the Gun Club decided, okay, they're going to take up to the offer of the Acclaim, like maybe start an alliance, which it sounds like it's cool. But the real question, can they make it work? That's the key thing. Now, for quite some time, we remember Julia Hart got missed in the face by Malachi Black for no reason. She hasn't been herself. So the Blondes called them out on this. They got themselves beat up. The House of Black were trying to get Julia to turn on them, but she couldn't. Apparently, there's still some good in her. But luckily for her, she was rescued by Death Triangle, and it was a good thing. But however, Phoenix did have to compel with other business to attend to his match. But before we go in to that, Jade Cargill and the baddies decided to say that they're continuing the party. Now Jade is confident to believe that Red Velvet could win the entire tournament, but we'll just wait and see. Now, our next match is another Owen Hart Foundation tournament qualifier. We have Ray Phoenix versus Dante Martin. Man, that match was amazing. High flying spots are good. You wouldn't expect a whole lot until it happens, and then of course, one thing that was great is that Phoenix was able to put him away and and continue on, but show respect to Dante, knowing that he did his best too. Now, the significance of the first match with Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Fish was determine who's going to face Darby Allin. Darby Allin knows that he's going to have to pull every stop. He knows that Jeff Hardy's going to do the same thing. So that is a key thing to pay attention. Now, our current women's champion set out to do a promo, called out Serena Deeb, who is now currently ranked number one. So basically, this is a feud that has been waiting to happen, but I can't wait to see when that feud happens. Now, our main event is for the undisputed ROH Women's Champion. We have Mercedes Martinez and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, this match was good. I think it showed a lot of character. Now, you know Deonna Purrazzo likes to exploit weaknesses. Well, she exploited one um to Mercedes Martinez, but however, Mercedes Martinez was able to overcome it by using the other arm to help her win her match, which was a fisherman something, I don't know. It was really great. So I think it was a pretty good match, and now Mercedes Martinez is the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion. So we'll see where they're gonna go with that. So I think that's pretty much it. So I believe it's time for some news update. Okay, so welcome to the news updates. For all you Pro Wrestling Noah fans out there, it's now been announced that the N1 Victory 2022 is coming back and is going to be held in this August. Now, those who are new for the channel, this is similar to the Champion Carnival and G1 Climax. This is a annual tournament that takes place. It's only point-based system, not elimination. So it's still unclear who will be involved, but I'm looking forward to see who will be. Now, this next news I have followed it before. Now, keep in mind, if you guys remember, actor Freddie Prinze Jr. was considering opening and starting his own wrestling promotion, which some people can say is crazy, but some of the ideas he had aren't so bad at all. Now, apparently he did. There is like he came up with a plan how this is going to be. Now, he said he plans to start this promotion in 18 months. He wants a 2-hour show. He has the money for a 3-year plan. Story lines based in reality. Women and men and women given equal time, which is good. Wants to own the space it's filming. So basically, look where it's going to go at. And of course, wants the Screen Actor Guild or something like that to be shown. The reason is that is because they want them to have health insurance. But of course, there is no TV contract yet. I don't think that is the plan, but not entirely what it needs. And I think it is good. I will continue to follow more on this until it comes in. Next update, as I mentioned once before, Konosuke Takasha, since coming to the US, making headways on AEW and other promotions, it was announced that he'll be making an appearance with the Garden State Pro Wrestling in Newark, New Jersey for Welcome to Eden on the 23rd of this year. Can't wait to see it. Now, here's some GCW updates here. We have for the Downward Spiral that's taking place on the 28th in Las Vegas. We have the debut of Johnny Game Changer, which is Johnny Mundo Johnny Multiple, how we call him. But yes, that's gonna happen as well as will be his debut. However, there'll be more things taking place. We have Matt Cardona, Mike Bailey, Rina Yamashita, Blake Christian, Drew Parker, Second Year Crew, Nick Wayne, Joe Janela, Early Morning Guy, and more. But however, there's also the other show taking place soon on the 21st of May, Maniac. We have Ninja Mac making his return after on his little tour in Japan. So plus we will have Bandito versus Nick Wayne, Blake versus Blackwood, Janela versus Parker, Ustifus versus Dark Sheik. Of course, we got the second crew, Boosie, and more. So I'm excited to see where they're gonna go. Now, our next update we have is the violence and suffering for the Better Off Dying on the 26th of May. Jack Evans, as you know, he's now a free agent, but he's going to join this promotion. I'm kind of excited to see what he's going to do. Now, for the Yoshi fan base, we have Haruka Tsukushi, who is in fact officially retired. She retired as a champion. She was the what's the title? Ice Infernal champion. So she gets to walk out as the champion, and she was only 24 years old, guys. 24. She still has enough gas, but it's still unclear why she made the retire. But I will follow up on this when I get a chance. Uh, Next up is our last review. As you know, the Hana Kimora show is not that far off. Apparently, I did not expect this one. Keno, the leader of Congo, made the decision that he's going to go participate in this event. Now, it's still, I think his opponent is going to be Black Mansouri. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm kind of curious to see about this one. I'm very happy. It's still unclear who's going to be involved, but I will continue to follow it as well. So, at this time, I will see you guys on the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.